So there's a problem that I've had a struggle to overcome in my life, and it has to do with money. Yeah, spending it too much, all that, yes, but it's a problem that most of us have, and that is that we think saving is a good thing, that saving money is the remedy to all of our ills. Saving money will save us. But saving money is a big problem. It's a problem that will rob us of a better financial future. It's a problem that we struggle to overcome because everybody assumes, well, you just got to save. So what's wrong with saving? Tap the like button and let's get into it. Hi, I'm James Callahan, and this is the Do-Over Show. And one of the most difficult problems I've struggled with in my do-overs, financial, personal, professional, has been with money. How to handle money, what to do with money, and how to make money work for me rather than me just working for money.
It's just money. It's made up. Pieces of paper with pictures on it so we don't have to kill each other just to get something to eat.
And at the heart of it all was a problem that most of us learned when we were younger, and that is we were always told the same thing: save. Live on less than we make, great, but save the remainder. Okay, but when I did that, and I compared my life to making the same money, living on less than I made, saving the money compared to people who were just like me, who were living on less than they made about the same as me, and yet wound up with a lot more money than I had for just saving, I realized that I had a big problem, and that saving money as my default, as my only strategy to handle money, was a big problem. So what do you miss out when you save? Okay, a few things. First one, obvious, it's in the news. Let me give you an example. If you put $1 away in 2019, or $100 or $1,000, whatever, today in 2024, it's worth 79 cents in terms of buying power. Now, it still says it's worth $1, 100 pennies. Yeah, but it's only worth 79 cents on the dollar because of inflation. Yes, inflation has meant that the money that we saved and didn't do anything with is actually worth less, so that we are actually punishing ourselves by saving our money, because the economy, by design, is meant to have inflation. You know, the Federal Reserve, the dual mandate of maximum employment and 2% inflation means that even if we average the yearly increase at a job, a salary job, of about 2 to 2.5%, we are effectively stagnant. And putting away all that money and then not turning it into something that changes over time, because inflation changes the value of money over time. And that means that inflation is probably the number one enemy of saving. Now, there's another element in this, and that is the opportunity cost, what we miss. When I looked at and talked to people who made about the same thing I did, working the same kind of jobs that I did, and lived on less than they made, you know, the 50-51 rule, if you make 50, you don't spend 51, great. But when I talked to them and I asked them how much money they wound up with, over the same period of time, they always had more than I did. But I was saving my money. I was making coffee at home. I wasn't spending it. I was cutting back on my expenses. Here's the other thing about saving versus the alternative, and that is missed opportunity, the opportunity cost. Now, if the average U.S. stock market over a 20-year period of time goes up about 8 to 10% on average each year, and we save our money with inflation in place, we're not only having less money because of inflation, we're also missing the opportunity of turning our money into something that works for us, that is the upside. But there's something even more problematic with saving, and that it creates in us a stinginess, even a greediness. It's based on a scarcity mentality. People that primarily save, according to behavioral economics studies, tend to have a very negative view of people who make more money than they are. They're not happy for them. They're jealous. They only share what they have with themselves usually, or with their own, but they're not known as generous people. That is, they tend to give less. They tend to be less charitable in their communities, in their religious organizations, with their time, as well as with their money. That is, the scarcity mentality, it breeds in us this sense that there is only so much, and that if somebody else gets some, that means we don't get a chance at it. Instead of the increasing domestic product of the United States, along with inflation, means that there will usually be an increase so that there's more for more of us. Now, that's the way a developing economy is supposed to work. And in literal developing economies, that's the way it does work. China, for the last 40, 30 years, has had the fastest growing middle class. And when they get money, they buy protein because that's the thing that they've missed, they don't have. So in a developing culture, you tend to do that. You tend to develop your sense of what I can do with this money. By the way, here's something interesting. In China, the savings rate is almost 40%. 40% of every yuan that is earned is hidden. But why is that? Well, because in China, when you have money, you don't draw attention to yourself. Here we buy things, logos, fancy cars, houses in better neighborhoods. We want to impress people because we're making more money. Here, the question of making more money and that scarcity mentality not only breeds in us a sense of, well, emotional immaturity, this infantile notion that there's only so much in the world and therefore we only have so much to give, but it also means that we look at our money as something that will always be, well, we'll be afraid of. And people who just save for a living have a predominantly more negative view of the economy and opportunity. And it's bred within them. It's bred within our professions. For example, I have a video coming out on whether or not teachers are underpaid. And of course you're going to say, because you have virtue, and that's a great virtue signal, of course teachers are underpaid. They take care of our children all day long where we're out making money, and our children are brats, so they have to put up with them. So of course they're underpaid. And who would ever dare say that teachers aren't underpaid? I mean, who would have the nerve to do that? Check in for the video and you'll find out. But that means we use all of those things to say, well, of course, ask anybody in their job, in their field. Ask a social media manager, are you underpaid? And you know what they'll say? Of course I'm underpaid. You see, the problem with the scarcity mentality is that it doesn't breed a healthy community and it doesn't make us healthy contributors to our community. So the alternative to saving, it's investing. Yes, over 20 years, the average market return on the S&P 500 has been about 8 to 10% annually. Now, that doesn't mean that there are down years or there are negative return years. It just means over any given 20-year period of time in modern market history, you will always have an increase. When you put your money under your mattress, you put it in a bank account that makes less than 1% interest, you're still going to lose money. That's inflation. You're still going to have the opportunity cost miss, yes. But if you invest your money, it does things for you if you leave it there. You were going to leave it there anyway. You're a saver, remember. It's going to do more for you over a 20-year period of time. But the question that I had to face was, I didn't learn this lesson when I was young. I didn't learn the eighth wonder of the world of compound interest until I lost the time that compound interest depended on. So if you're tired of saving only and missing out on the opportunity cost of investing, what are you supposed to do about it? Well, Albert Einstein said that there's an eighth wonder of the world, and it's compound interest. That is, you put your money to work and you let it continually increase its value and reinvest in itself, and over time, you have an exponential return. Follow the rule of 72. Look that up. There are a bunch of YouTube videos about it. But he also said, Albert did, that there are two kinds of people in the world. There are people who benefit from compound interest, and there are people who pay it. That's savers. We're paying people who invest rather than save to benefit from compound interest while we lose out. Now, how does that make you feel? It bothers me, and it probably should bother you too. So what are you supposed to do? Become an investor. This is not financial advice. Yeah, I can't say that it is. I don't have the fancy initials after my name. There are plenty of YouTubers who will tell you this. This is just my story, sort of my journey, what I've had to learn, what I've missed out on, and what I've done about it. I live on less than I earn. I work extra jobs. I'm an adjunct. I do it part-time in order to make money. I don't use that to increase with lifestyle creep how much money I spend to live. I keep my standard of living the same. I make more money and I put every penny of that, 100% of that, into investments. Yeah, broad market ETFs that just sit there year after year, and over a period of time, I can get what I can out of the eighth wonder of the world, compound interest. So this video is different than the ordinary videos that I do, because I usually talk about higher education and people that don't make a lot of money and what they can do about it. But I guess this is really pretty much the same thing. It's just all about money. You know why? Because more and more people, the average educator, primary, secondary, post-secondary, higher ed, They're more savers than they are investors. When they get money, they save it. When they get money, they don't tend to invest it. So yeah, this is for you. And this is like all the other videos that I do about how to handle life and education and higher education. And it is, don't be so stupid with your money. And thanks for being part of the Do-Over Show. Please, could you tap the like button because it really helps. And while you're down there, how about you subscribe and ring the notifications bell so you don't miss the next episode. I'm so glad you found me and I found you. Thanks.